Alright, Shalom. Before I begin this video, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, right? From the elder apostle Tahar on down. You know, the elder apostles that are in order. Double honors unto them who rule well and teach well, and a sincere salutations to you, hopeful elect Akim out there. Okay, all you sincere brothers out there who are pushing this word in sincerity and in faith. So I came across this article from it says unheard.com. It says, how long can humans survive? This time of plenty won't last forever. All right, so let me just read through this. In the deep ocean, occasionally, a whale carcass falls to the bottom of the sea. Most of the time, in the state of nature, creatures have just about enough to survive. But the first creatures to find the whale have more food than they could ever eat. These scavengers live lives of extraordinary plenty. Some of the smaller, faster breeding species might do so for several generations. There is enough to go around 1,000 times over for a while. And then the whale is gone and the creatures go back to their lives of crushing pressure, constant darkness, and an eternal knife-edge struggle for survival. As Thomas Malthus had it in his bleak vision, organisms which increase exponentially in number will rapidly outgrow their resources, which can only grow arithmetically. It says, so of course, the excess population, which I could be wrong, but I believe that's where the word arithmetic comes from. It says, so of course the excess population which has grown up on this brief glut must die off. We are currently living in the same time of whale fall, suggests scientist Vaclav Smil in his new book, How the World Really Works. He doesn't use the word, of course. Credit for the macabre whale metaphor must go to Scott Alexander. But modern humans are animals, products of evolution like any other, which that's bullshit. And yet we noticeably do not spend every minute of every day struggling to get the material required to survive. Instead, we build cathedrals and watch football. We make art. We waste time on Twitter. And that is because we live on the gigantic blessed whale carcass that is our fossil fuel inheritance, which Israel didn't get no fossil fuel inheritance. All right? We don't have nothing. We don't even own our last names. All right? Most of our last names go back to you self-proclaimed white people, man. So we don't even own that. Salakia. For Smil, our discussions about climate and energy are hamstrung because so few people actually understand how the world really works. Which really nobody understands how the world works except for the elect. That's why Lord's will, we'd be of the elect right now. We'd hopeful elect. It says material lands in front of us in prepackaged, convenient forms. Shrink-wrapped pork chops. Winter strawberries, lights that turn on when you flick a switch. Phones made of plastic and metal. All right? And that's all products of the so-called white man. The so-called white man came up with shrink-wrapped pork chops, winter strawberries through GMOs, lights that turn on when you flick a switch, phones made of plastic and metal. It says the world is a set of black boxes that we use, but in most cases do not understand. So when we say we need to cut back our carbon emissions, most of us don't really grasp the implications of doing so. But somehow all these incomprehensible processes are keeping us alive, and we should find it astonishing that they are able to do so. The demand for material, for energy, and nutrients is greater than it has ever been. The world's population has exploded. In 1800, roughly about 222 years ago, there were about 1 billion humans. In 1950, there were 2.5 billion. Now there are 7.7 billion, which that's spiritual, right? In my parents' lifetime, the number of humans alive has, it says trebled, but I believe it means tripled. It says, but amazingly, the amount of material available to each of them has increased even more, and that is in large part because of our use of fossil fuels. In 1800, almost all the energy used globally was in the form of human and animal muscles, for mechanical work or plant matter burned for heat and light. Coal, the first widely used fossil fuel, was just starting to be used in steam engines in the UK, but it was negligible overall. By 1900, fossil fuels were the source for half our energy. By 2000, they were the source of 87%. And as a result, our lives have been transformed. The amount of energy available to the world has increased 1,500-fold. That is only part of the story, though. Increased energy efficiency means that the gain in useful energy is more like 3,500 times. And even though the world's population has gone up many times, an average inhabitant of the earth nowadays has at their disposal nearly 700 times more useful energy than their ancestors had at the beginning of the 19th century. So everything, shit, you go home, you cut on the lights, you go turn on the dishwasher, you turn on the fan, you go to the shower, you turn on the shower, that activates the hot water heater. Okay, that's just a small part of your day. Okay, it says, but most of us don't realize how that energy is actually used. A large percentage, for instance, is used to create four materials which are the building blocks of modern society. Materials which are so ubiquitous that we barely notice them even as we depend on them. And Jake and every single Israelite knows about this, especially Judah. Okay, growing up, you didn't just have your damn lights on. You didn't just have the car running. You didn't have the lights on. You get your ass beat for that. Parents just walk into a room, nobody in the room, but the lights are just on. Fan just running. So if anything, it's you it's you damn devils who need to be cutting back on your emissions. Jake over there in Brazil with no AC. It's 105 degrees outside. Jake in flip-flops with no AC. Dancing and shit. What does Jake really do? Jake really conserves. Now, of course, you got certain Israelites who, they live it up. Everything is paid for. Everything's all good. You got the dishwasher going, TV going. That's a lot of energy, man. They got a house. They got a 5-bedroom house. Every single bedroom got a TV that's on. Dishwasher popping. A couple people taking a shower at the same time. All types of energy. But it says, a large percentage, for instance, is used to create Salakia. Let me go down. I read that already. It says Smil identifies these four basic pillars of human civilization as steel, cement, plastic, and ammonia, which the self-proclaimed white man owns all four of those. It says producing them takes enormous amounts of fossil fuels. It takes, for example, 25 gigajoules of energy to produce 1 ton of steel, roughly twice the amount of energy used by the average UK household per year. In 2019, it says The world used 1.8 billion tons of steel. Its production is responsible for about 8 of the world's total carbon emissions. But we can't do without it. The frameworks of our cities are built of it. The pipes we send our water and gas through too. Our cars, our transporter ships, our knives and cooking pots, our machines for making all these things. Cement and plastic are similarly vital and are responsible for comparable amounts of our total carbon output. We can't do without them, and there's no easy carbon-free alternative way of making them. All right, in which back in the day, they used to do glass. Things were made out of glass. You know, so like things had glass containers. And everything has a spirit to it. When you buy some juice out of the plastic carton, it ain't as good as the juice in the glass. I know that for a fact. Okay, I'm just speaking as a man here. I'm speaking as a fool. But that milk in the glass tastes way better, even when you pour up a drink. Let's say you make yourself a drink, you know. You're sipping a little strong drink. You don't want that in a plastic cup. Now, you'll drink it or whatever. But you want it in a glass. All right? And plus, you got the the plastic, you got the BPA and the carcinogens and all sorts of stuff, man. All right, it says, and then there's ammonia, which rarely features in any conversation about cutting carbon emissions. Ammonia is a nitrogen atom ringed by 4 hydrogen atoms. Our atmosphere is 80% nitrogen by mass, but plants, which need it for growth, can't easily take it out of the air. Instead, they need to gather it from the soil. Bacteria that live in the roots of some plants can fix it into soil. Animal waste like manure have relatively high nitrogen content, but those methods can only support a certain amount of growth. In the beginning of the 20th century, a German chemist named Fritz Haber invented a process for getting nitrogen out of the air by making ammonia. It requires huge amounts of energy and hydrogen, usually taken from natural gas. We now spread hundreds of millions of tons of ammonia on our fields. About 50% of the total nitrogen going into food production comes from it. Smil quotes an author writing in 1971, "Industrial man no longer eats potatoes made from solar energy. Now he eats potatoes partly made of oil." And who owns all that? All right, E. It says, this means the world is able to eat. The share of the global population that is underfed has plummeted even as the actual population has ballooned. About 65% of people could not get enough to eat in 1950 compared to about 9% in 2019, which that's bullshit. You got a bunch of starving people out here. It says, so in 1950, the world was able to supply adequate food to about 890 million people. As Smil puts it, but by 2019, that had risen to just over 7 billion. That is not entirely down to ammonia, but ammonia is a large part of the story. If fertilizer were removed, perhaps half the world's population would starve. Agriculture then depends on the whale fall, the glut of energy provided by fossil fuels. Our deep reliance on fossil fuels to create materials most of us don't appreciate we need is unnerving, especially when Smil points out that much of the world, notably sub-Saharan Africa, lives on well below average levels of energy use. Africa uses just 5% of the world's total ammonia supplies, despite having almost 25% of the population. About 40% of the world's 3.1 billion people has a per capita energy supply no higher than the rate achieved in both Germany and France in 1860. In order to approach the threshold of a dignified standard of living, writes Smil, those 3.1 billion people will need at least to double but preferably triple their per capita energy use. It says, can we do that? Can we do that while also reducing our carbon emissions? Not fast, says Smil. For all the boasts and pledges, all the government targets for years ending in 0 or 5, it says about which Smil is very sniffy. The world relies too heavily on fossil fuels for too many things to rapidly stop using them. Even the International Energy Association's optimistic sustainable development scenario projects that the share of fossil fuels in the world's energy mix will only drop to 56% in 2040, which we not going to 2040, man. All right, Lord's will. You know, we don't know exactly when the Lord is coming back, but, we know through the Spirit, we not going to be here 20 more years. No way. All right, it says, we can and need to replace fossil fuel and Salakia. But our elder apostles, man, they gave their whole life coming into the truth. Young men. Now these men are old. Now they, now of course they understand what we mean when we say that, but they're old. They're not spring chickens. These men are seasoned. These men have been in this truth for 35 plus years, man. That's a very long time. That's longer than I've been alive. And a lot of brothers, it's longer than a lot of brothers have been alive. And even, brothers who are in their 40s, they was teaching this word when they were in kindergarten, man. That's deep. If you're 40 years old, you were sitting in kindergarten while the elder apostles were out on the highways and byways, man. That's far out. Okay, and it's very true. So that's also a blessing for us young brothers, man. We're not going to have to be out on the highways and byways till we're 50, 60. That's something that they did, man, and that's a beautiful work. And Barak Thihaba Shemiah Shai, and they made that sacrifice. Why? For the hopeful elect, man. They didn't do that because that's just something they wanted to do. They did that for the hopeful elect. All right, we should count ourselves blessed for that. Okay, that we have the opportunity to know this word. We have the opportunity to come into this word. It says we can and need to replace fossil fuel energy sources with renewable ones. But there are obstacles beyond simply the political will. It says renewable energy is very good at making electricity, but electrical energy isn't ideal for making the incredible heat needed for iron and steel production or cement. The harbor process for making ammonia works much more efficiently with natural gas as the source of hydrogen and energy than it does with water and electricity. And away from the 4 pillars, fossil fuels have other huge advantages. It's very energy dense. You can store much more energy in a kilogram of kerosene than you can in a kilogram of battery, meaning that transatlantic flights are possible. And it keeps currently there is no suitable way of storing electrical energy for more than a few hours or days. So solar energy stored up in summer is no use in winter. A barrel of oil will last indefinitely. Those facts will change, and Smil is more downbeat than I am about how quickly that will happen. But we are definitely going to be relying on fossil fuels for some decades yet. We ain't going to be here for decades. It says, but unlike the crabs and hagfish that eat the fallen whale, we are clever, and we needn't simply slink back into the darkness and starve. Smil thinks there are major gains in efficiency which can be had over and above the enormous gains so far. He points to water use as an example. In 2015, the U.S. only used about 4% more water than it did in 1965. It says, but in the meantime, its population had gone up by 2/3. Actual per capita water use has dropped by 40%, even while the country has got richer and better fed. Perhaps similar efficiencies can be found with energy and carbon. And the reason why that is, right, is because people ain't really drinking water like that. People are not doing a lot of things related to water. Back then, if your yard, if your yard needed to be raked up, the leaves needed to be raked up, you rake them all up, put them in a ditch, and set them on fire. That was just a way to do it. Now you got, you got the truck coming, he's loading it all up. It's just a different way of doing things. So same with water also. It says, besides, we are not about to run out of whale, at least not imminently. The raw materials, metal, fuels that our lifestyle needs are still around in large numbers, but we have grown in numbers and lifestyle well beyond the capacity of the pre-whale fall world. And we don't want to go back to the lifestyle we had before, even if some romantics and millenarians might disagree. In fact, we want many more people to enjoy the spoils of whale fall. Yeah, so to continue to be in this system, continue to rock with this place. It says, in fact, we want many more people to enjoy the spoils of whale fall. We have used fossil fuels to construct an astonishing world, one that feeds and houses an incredible number of people. We need to wean ourselves off fossil fuels, and the sooner the better, but it will be a long and difficult job. As Mill demonstrates, they are threaded through our society at every level, entwined like knotweed in the systems that provide our food, our housing, our machinery, our transport. We forget how complex our society is until it stops working in some way. As when supply chains break down in the pandemic and our hospitals ran out of rubber gloves, an issue Smill talks about in a section on globalization. As it stands, if we were to reduce fossil fuel consumption by the sort of degrees that some demand, it would lead to disaster because we haven't unpicked the threads yet. So, basically, they're saying, oh, we got enough time. No, we don't. No, we don't. The Lord's coming back, man. The Lord is coming back. My battery, it says it's only on 15%, so it only has a couple minutes left when it says that, because this whole video will be lost. And I don't know if brothers have been having any issues with this Mobizen. Mobizen has been messing up. It may be a RAM issue as far as my phone, but I'm going to try to put a miniature sim in there and see if I can transfer videos to there, because I'll be making a video and then it'll cut off. The whole video will be lost, and I'll just be doing the video, not really realizing that the circle isn't at the upper right hand corner. So, and that's the worst. Like, damn it, man. All right, Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 1. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. All right, which includes when all these things go away. Like gas, food, water. It's going to come a time where it's going to seem like don't nobody have nothing. All right, you only going to have some if the Lord allows you to have it. It says, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. And that's coming soon too, man. GMS Truth Be Told has a live video. Verse 3, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. So the keepers of the house is going into the elite, right? And the strong men bow themselves as going into the, the military, and the grinders cease because they are few. These different stores and places like that, all this business, this industry, right? It's kind of coming to a close. That's why you see in many different places, they're short staff or they're just closed altogether. That's because the grinders, right, is ceasing. Everything is, everything is done. This place is through. All right. It says, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. So they don't know what's going on. Not only are they in a sense of confusion, they have no hope. Because they don't want the Lord to come back, and also that they don't believe in the Lord. That's not something that they do. That's not something that they believe in. It's not something that they do. It's not something that they look forward to. Like, we look forward to the Lord coming back. We're like, yes, Lord's will. Lord comes back. He comes in our lifetime. We don't want to be here. We don't want to be stuck here when when this place runs out of oil, gas, water, and all that. The Lord will be back way before that happens. Okay? And imagine that. Imagine continuing to be in America. I don't even want to think about that. But just imagine being here generation after generation for 600 years, 1,000 years. No, man, it's not happening. The Lord is coming back. Okay, we got to constantly think about that. Okay, the Lord is coming back. The Lord is coming back, and it happens almost every day. I sigh and I groan, like, Lord, please come back. You see the state of these people. These people. You go anywhere, man. These people just need to be just destroyed. So Jake, especially Jake. Jake needs to be destroyed so he can be in his right mind. Okay? Shit, even these other nations, when they get destroyed, they're going to be in their right mind. Now, they're not going to be perfect. They're not going to be like the children of Israel. But the most bugged out heathen, right, in the kingdom, a heathen going off, it's going to get dealt with. It's not like here on earth where no heathens getting dealt with. There's no law. There's no order. This shit is all out madness, man. So we need the Lord to come back, to give the 144,000 that judgment, that ability to truly judge, man. We need that. We absolutely need that, man. All right. Verse 5, it says, also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail. Because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. And the people are about to start mourning, man. They're about to start really tripping out. Well, actually, it's like I skipped over a whole the whole verse by accident. Forgive me. Ecclesiastes 12 and 4. And the doors shall be shut in the streets, which we're seeing that is going to increase. When the sound of the grinding is low, that's this economy. Like when you got a car with some kind of squeaky brakes, you slowing down, and once you get to that stop sign, it finally ends. That squeaking ends, and that's the time that we in that loud squeak. We at that kind of end part where you kind of hear that last little squeak. It says, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. all these niggas, basically everybody that's not the elect. All right, and that also goes, into the elite and whatnot. But basically, everybody who is not of the elect is through. Okay, verse 5. It says, also when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail. So all sorts of hell is going to be breaking loose. And people's desires are going to fail. Going to college, have the white picket fence, the dog. It's going to be all done, man. It says, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. It says, or ever the silver cord be loosed, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the cistern. So all this shit is coming to an end, man. All right, all this, this wheel that was once just cranking at the river, it's now starting to deteriorate. It's being broken. Now it's broke. Okay. It says, then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto Yahweh Shemi Shai who gave it. So people gonna start giving up the ghost, man. All right. It says, vanity of vanities, saith the preacher, all is vanity. And moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. Yea, he gave good heed and sought out and set in order many proverbs. So, hey, man, it's starting off with our elder apostles of Great Millstone has set in order many proverbs. They've taught us how to, break this book down. That's who I was taught by. I don't know anybody else that knows the scriptures like the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Through the Spirit, there is nobody else that knows the breakdowns better than the elder apostles of Great Millstone. And if there are, then where they at? Okay, that's my question. Where are all these guys? Where are all these fucking geniuses at, man? All these guys that they know all the breakdowns. They know every single scripture. They know all this and that. Where are they at, man? Where are their camps at? Where's their works? Are they on the highways and byways? Are they doing the sit downs? Are they making the videos? Where are they at? All right, verse 10. The preacher sought to find out acceptable words, and that which was written was upright, even words of truth. All right, so these words, these are the words of Yahweh Shemi Shai. Right? And the Lord came in the volume of the book. Okay, he comes in the volume of the book. So the Lord is upright. He's saying that all these things are going to happen. All right, it says verse 11, the words of the wise are as goads, and as nails fastened by the masters of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd, Yahweh Shai. Okay? And further, by these, my son, be admonished, of making many books there is no end, and much study is weariness of the flesh. So, you got all these different books, how to survive, which, it's not going off if you're looking at a book on, how to, cook a beef stew or something like that. But, you're not supposed to have just a big ass, vast library in the house of all these different books and doctrines and shit. That's going off. The most important book that we have is the Bible. That's really the only book that we need at the end of the day. And when, and they're going to lock us up, and when, and I've never been to prison, but when they, supposedly when they lock you up in prison, you are allowed to have one book. And any brother who gets, put away for teaching this truth, he going to ask for one book. Right? The King James Version of the Bible. That's what we're going to ask for. Okay? And Lord's will we get it, for the brothers who are going to be locked up, man. We think about that from time to time, man. Being locked up. Shackled up. Our legs shackled. And different brothers who have had that experience of having their ankles shackled together, right? Their hands shackled together. I've been to jail for a day. That shit was not cool. You shackled. And they got your ass good too. You not going nowhere. All right, brothers may have to experience that again for Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, not for just foolishness in the streets or anything like that. No, for serving the Heavenly Father. All right, it says, verse 13, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahweh Shem Yahushai and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. So this is the whole reason why we're here. It's to be shining examples, man. You know, especially the other brothers on what to do, you know, and what not to do. Okay, verse 14. For Yahweh Shem Yahushai shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. So the Lord knows our hearts. You know, he knows that they're desperately wicked. You know, he knows our intentions, and he knows that, you know, through the Spirit, you know, we're trying. But we have to try our hardest. We're all, all of our minds are just all jacked up and through, man. But the spirit is continuing to fight. So we gotta fight through the Spirit. You know, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, you know, but against the principalities. Roughly paraphrasing. Let me end on that. All right, Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So we taking on the ultimate adversary, right? The spiritual demon, Satan. the top level demon, the top angel on the left-hand side of the Lord. We got to take him on, man, through these scriptures. On the day-to-day, every moment. From the time we came out of the womb, we've been battling. We just didn't know that. Now we know that we're in a battle. All right, we're in a battle for our spirit, for our mind. Okay? And most importantly, for the love of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. All right, this is a fight. This is like a wrestling. You know, if any of you brothers ever did wrestling, you know, I did some wrestling in high school. This shit's a fight. Definitely. Sometimes you can be overpowered and things, but if you're using, you know, your skills and using repetition and doing things in the right order, you know, it don't matter how strong your opponent is. You know, if you're staying on your assignment, man, you're going to have good bouts. You're going to have some bad bouts where you just mess up, but you have to continue to stay pushing forward, man. All right, so hopefully that was edifying. Call halal. Call halayim la, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Ha, Rachak, Quadash. Once again, double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. And sincere salutations to you brothers all across the four corners of the earth. Keep pushing. You know, it's different videos of the chariots. There's so many different videos of the chariots. You know, Lord's will, if the Spirit is on me, I'll put up a few chariot videos from elder brother out there in LA. He has a channel. I can't remember what it is exactly. I look on it just about every day. He has a bunch of different chariot videos. So Lord's will, I can put a couple of those up and just have them out there. But, you know, hey, the Lord's coming back, man. We just have to continue to push forward and continue, you know, this fight and this struggle. All right? And spiritually fight out here. Call Akim to you brothers, man. All right, all praises to Yahweh Shem Yahushai B'Hashem Harakah Kodash. All right, until the next video, Shalom.